President Trump may be overseas, but his first budget lands in the nation's capital this morning. The $4.1 trillion budget request for fiscal 2018 calling for sweeping cuts to social safety net programs and Medicaid, while increasing spending for border security and infrastructure. All told, the plan, titled The New Foundation for American Greatness, includes a total of $3.6 trillion in cuts, in hopes of reaching a balanced budget within a decade. Although the plan is expected to face a rough road ahead on Capitol Hill, some Republicans are already declaring it dead on arrival. Joining us now is the president of the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, MacGuineas. Maya, based on what you've seen so far, what do you make of this budget?
Well, it's a very aggressive budget in a number of ways. First off, it lays out the fiscal goal of trying to reach balance within a decade. Given how huge our fiscal challenges are, that is a very aggressive goal, and I commend the president and the White House for laying out something they want to achieve. However, the way that they get there really doesn't seem credible for a couple of reasons. The budget leaves out the biggest areas of what it's going to take to actually get that budget to balance. First off, it doesn't do anything on our major entitlement programs, Social Security and Medicare, which must be reformed in order to preserve them and help people who depend on the programs. And the second big missing area of this whole budget is their entire tax reform plan, which is really the centerpiece of the coming months, just isn't really acknowledged in the budget. And there's kind of some hand-waving to, we'll get on to that, but it's not a part of this budget story. They do have very significant and aggressive cuts in the welfare area of the budget. A lot of these savings proposals will be quite controversial, but they're the kinds of things we need to be talking about to bring savings down. And then finally, the piece of the budget that I worry about the most is their assumptions about how fast they can grow the economy just don't square with what economists are saying, and that means we're going to paper over a lot of the imbalances that are probably underlying this budget overall.
I want to come to the tax plan that you mentioned. So the president has laid out plans for big tax cuts, to corporate rate to 15%, individual rates much lower. This budget, the numbers that are in there have tax revenues growing above the baseline, even though tax rates are coming down. How does that add up to you? Can you cut tax rates the way the president has said he wants to do, and grow revenue as much as the budget says it will grow?
Yeah, it's a great point, because what the assumptions that they show in this budget are that revenues would be higher because the economy would be larger, and so that you would bring in more revenue as a result. But so far, the White House has offered no details to back up the portion of the budget that would, or the tax reform plan, that would actually help generate those revenues. What they have done, you called it a tax plan. It was, it was more of a one-pager. There's some bullets that still need to be filled in, but it was talking a lot about the things they want to get done that are kind of on the desirable side of tax reform. They want to bring rates down on the corporate side and for pass-through entities. They want to do, there are a lot of things that they actually want to preserve on the tax code, a lot of tax breaks that they want to protect. But what they didn't identify, and the big question here, is how much of the base will they actually broaden? How many of the existing $1.6 trillion in tax breaks per year will they be willing to get rid of, so that this big tax reform plan doesn't add to the debt? When you only talk about the easy parts, when you only talk about the goodies, one starts to wonder, are you really going to fill that in with a full detailed plan so it doesn't explode the debt? We have no more information after seeing this budget than we had when we got that one-pager on tax reform. So still a lot of details unexplained.
Maya, great analysis as always. Such a pleasure to see you this morning. So much breaking news. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for weighing in.